Hi, my name is Celine Torres, and today I will be presenting my oral presentation. The piece of literature I received was The Grange by Stevie Smith, so that's what my presentation is going to be on. So my first slide is going to be the poem itself. The reason I put this in here is because I wanted to inform you of what piece of literature I received and where all my information is coming from, of course. Next, I'm going to be explaining the poem. When I researched this poem, there was not many, well, not at all, of what I could find summaries or kind of like people analyzing what the poem meant. So both of these ideas were just like self-inflect of what I thought the poem was. So one of them being the poem discussing that one scary house everybody has in their hometown, kind of because there was deaths that people could not find their bodies. So it was kind of sketchy, and it fit along with the poem itself. Another idea that I had was because Stevie Smith had disorders, and she always was discussing death in all of her, not all of her, but most of her work. Either somebody was dying or there was death involved, Um, so she could be explaining that she was the house and that it was hard for people to approach her because she was almost like intimidating because she had tried to kill herself. So she could be also explaining it like that. Those were just the two main ideas that I had coming off of reading this poem. Next, I'm going to be discussing my criticism. So for the criticism, I picked the psychoanalytic one, and I'm going to explain why I picked this more, but this was just the general idea of what it meant. So there are different ways to examine the ideas. One of them being how human mental and psychological development occurs, and then another one being the human mind and how it works. So why was Stevie Smith writing this information? Writing her poems or her short stories, any of it about death. My next slide is why did the author write it? I can connect this to the work of Stevie Smith because of her attempt to suicide, which made her writing more concerning when people read it because it dealt with suffering and it dealt with mortality. A lot of her work was dealing with death and had the decision or the idea that somebody died because she was almost obsessed with the idea of mortality, like what was going to happen next, because of what happened to her. Next, I'm going to be comparing the poem to the criticism. I find it very important to be able to connect the author to their writing. So, because of her killing herself, there was a list of disorders, that she could have had that she was fighting every day. So, was it possible that she was obsessed with death? The poem is based on someone else's fears. They are looking at this house and are terrified of the stories they have heard or the stuff that is actually happening, almost like a folk tale. Either that, or the poem could also be looked at as her view on how people are scared of her from her past. She can be trying to connect it to her writing and really using what happened to her in real life. I don't. And that is it. I did have a citation, it's not on here. What happened to my citation page? And here's my works cited. The three that I have listed are the where I got my criticism from, um, the information I got on the author, and where I got my poem from. So that would be the conclusion to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much.